What if I told you that the universe was designed before it was created, before stars existed, before planets formed, before your body took shape? There was already a pattern, a structure, a blueprint. Modern science often tells us matter comes first and everything else formed randomly from it. But sacred geometry reveals a very different story. It shows us that pattern comes before form, that design exists before the physical object. In other words, geometry exists before matter itself. And once you understand why, you begin to see the universe not as accidental, but as intelligently ordered. So think about something simple for a moment. Imagine someone building a house. Before the first brick is laid, before the wood is cut, and before the walls go up, there is a blueprint. And that blueprint contains the structure of the entire house before the house physically exists. The design comes first, the physical form comes second. Now expand that idea to the entire universe. What if everything that we see, from atoms to galaxies, is simply matter following a deeper blueprint? And that blueprint is geometry. Sacred geometry teaches that reality unfolds according to pre-existing patterns of order, and matter simply fills in those patterns. So let's look at geometry as pure order. Geometry is not a physical thing. It has no weight, no mass, no atoms. A triangle exists as a principle of structure, not a physical object. Even if every triangle in the universe disappeared, the idea of a triangle would still exist. This is why geometry is often described as eternal. It exists in the realm of order and intelligence before it ever becomes physical form. When matter appears in the universe, it naturally organizes itself according to these geometric principles, because geometry represents the most efficient and balanced ways that energy can organize itself. So energy organizes into geometric patterns. When energy begins to move and interact, it doesn't behave randomly, it forms patterns. And you can see this in simple experiments. When sand vibrates on a metal plate, it arranges itself into intricate geometric designs. When water vibrates at certain frequencies, it forms symmetrical patterns. Sound, vibration, and energy naturally organize matter into geometry. And this tells us something profound, that matter doesn't invent geometry. Matter follows geometry. And the patterns already exist as possibilities. Energy simply reveals them. You see, the universe forms through mathematical harmony. If we look closely at the universe, we see mathematics everywhere. Planetary orbits follow precise ratios. The spirals of galaxies follow mathematical curves. And the growth patterns of planets reflect repeating numerical sequences. So even the structure of atoms reveals symmetrical geometric relationships. And this is why many scientists throughout history have said that the universe appears to be written in the language of mathematics. And sacred geometry shows us the visual form of that language. Geometry is essentially mathematics made visible. It is how order expresses itself in space. You see, spirit creates patterns before form. In spiritual traditions, geometry has long been seen as the bridge between consciousness and creation. Consciousness imagines, where geometry structures. Matter manifests. So this is why sacred geometry and sacred symbols appear in temples, mandalas, cathedrals, and sacred art throughout history. Ancient cultures understood that geometry reflects the organizing intelligence behind creation. So it shows how the visible or invisible actually becomes visible. It's how the spiritual becomes physical and how the unseen blueprint becomes the world we live in. You were designed through sacred pattern. And this principle doesn't just apply to the universe, it applies to you. Your body didn't form randomly. Your cells divide in precise geometric patterns. Your DNA coils in structured spirals. Your heartbeat flows rhythmic mathematical order. Even the proportions of the human body reflect harmonious ratios. So this means something extraordinary. You are not a random collection of atoms. You are a living pattern of sacred design. Your life unfolds according to a deeper pattern of growth, transformation, and expansion, just like the geometry that shapes the universe. So understanding this principle changes how we see life. When we believe everything is random, we often feel lost inside of chaos. But when we understand that creation unfolds through pattern and design, we begin to trust the process of life more deeply. Just like geometry creates structure in the universe, there are patterns unfolding in your own journey, cycles of growth, moments of collapse and renewal, periods of expansion and stillness. What looks like disorder in your life may simply be a larger pattern forming that you cannot yet see. Sacred geometry reminds us that even when life feels chaotic, there is still order beneath the surface. So for the next few days, I want you to try something simple. Start looking at the world through the lens of pattern instead of randomness. Notice the symmetry in nature. Notice the spirals in plants and shells. Notice the repeating structures in flowers or snowflakes and waves. The more you observe these patterns, the more you begin to realize something profound. The universe is not just matter floating in space. It is order expressing itself through form. And the same intelligence shaping galaxies is shaping you. So if you're ready to continue exploring the hidden architecture of reality, then join me for the next lesson in sacred geometry. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because once you begin to see the patterns behind creation, you begin to understand the intelligence behind life itself. And I'll see you guys in the next video.